Wow, this is like following Jerry Seinfeld. My goodness. So, on February 22nd, 1980, two miracles took place that day. And because Mike Eruzione and Jim Craig couldn't make it here tonight, I'm not going to talk about USA beating the Soviet Union in one of the most famous hockey games ever. I'm here to talk about my friend, Billy Taylor. I've known Bill since 1983. Whew. I didn't think this was going to be like this. And we've shared a lot of memories together. And so, Bill, I just want to share a few of my favorite with you. And then I want to tell two quick stories that I think kind of exemplify who Bill is today. So, Bill, when I look back at our lives, I think of Nick and I beating you at King Street in football. Just mercilessly just beating you every day at recess. I think about us getting passed over for promotion 2 years in Boy Scouts. I think about the challenging times that we experienced together when we were in middle school. I think about discovering hockey with you. I think about all of the battles that raged on from Clapboard Ridge to Pleasant Street. I think about all of our fights that we had. And I think about Nick giggling at us while we had those fights, knowing that the night was about to end because we'd be too tired to play afterwards. I think about a time before Cars. I think about a time after Cars. So the time before Cars, I remember being at your mom's apartment making cinnamon rolls. Watching Patrick Roy's last game with the Montreal Canadiens. I think about the time after Cars. And I remember we would tell Nick's parents that we were going to Billy's house for a sleepover, and they were worried that we were going to go shoot BB guns in the woods. We were actually driving up to Hartford to watch the Whalers play. If they only knew, they would have freaked. I think about all of our road trips. I think about Metallica. I think about our first show together, scared out of our minds as 16-year-olds going to a Metallica show. I think about our trip to Detroit in Y2K. I'll tell you guys, don't let a poor college kid choose where you're going to stay when visiting Detroit. You're going to end up at a $34 a night Night's Inn. And never forget the experiences that happen at that place. I think about you with your head tucked between your knees while we were playing Sailors, 10 miles out in the open Atlantic Ocean with a lightning storm raging around us and Court paddling us to safety during that time. I'm sorry, Mom, I know that's a tough story for you to hear. And so those are just a few of the memories that I have, and I could go on for days about it. But the two quick stories that I have that are more recent, I think just show that just the kind of caring and loving person that Billy is. So as many of you know, in 2008, I had deployed to Iraq, and I came home on R&R, and Nick, Bill, and I were all hanging out together, and I was telling tall tales about what war was like. And I had a big brave face on, I was smiling, I was giggling, and I was just telling them everything. And I was showing them videos of rocket attacks. And Bill was able to identify something that took me years to kind of grasp in myself. But I'll never forget it, and it is kind of haunting. But I remember he looked at me with a very sober look, which is saying something because we weren't sober at the time. But he looked at me and he's like, man, that looks scary. I just want you to be okay. And so, playing off of that, years later, I found myself in a very dark spot in life. And I was hospitalized, and Bill called to check on me. But Bill didn't stop there. This was 3 years ago. So at 5:30 in the morning, on my way to work on Tuesdays and Thursdays, Bill will call me. And he has for the last 3 years. And we talk about everything. We talk about nothing. We talk about the Mets. More importantly, we talk about the Yankees. We talk about politics. We talk about the challenges and the joys of being fathers and husbands and what that life is like. Those are often the brightest parts of my day. Something that I really cherish. And so, I want everyone else to hear that. I love you. I think everyone in this room loves you. Obviously, I mean, look at how many people came here for you. So, that being said, thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here. Everyone, maybe let's raise a glass again for Bill.
Katie did an amazing job keeping this a secret. I had zero clue. So thank you very much. And it's great to see everybody and the people that traveled as far as you did. This is something I'll remember for the rest of my life. So thank you very much. And